YouTube, B Smokehouse back here with you, and today we got a special one. I don't think I'm gonna do too much of this, but we have these are known as beef plate ribs. Some people might say short ribs, beef plate ribs. This variety that we have is alright, so let's go ahead and get this out of the bag. I don't think I'm gonna do too much of these. It is right at noon here where I'm at. And so I wanted to get up a bit earlier, but we had a late night celebrating my daughter's birthday. So the purpose is to get this out and get these on the grill. Again, the old standby, Morton's Kosher Salt. Season off Fiesta brand. I grew up using Fiesta brand products. My grandmother, when she cooked, had a lot of their seasoning in her kitchen. Now, as an older gentleman, I understand why. It's not just cost effective, but they make a lot of quality products. Put this up in. Now you can smell the seasoning already. It smells awesome. All right. No binder. I don't think it's necessary for this. You will see me using binders. I'm not going to sit there and down talk binders. Alright? But I'm getting moisture, and because it's a pretty hot day today out here, there's a bit of this fat that is starting to render. And I'm just trying to spread that around just to make sure I can get adherence. Alright. So now, let me bring you guys in. So we're going to go in here. No gloves, I took them off, right? So the first thing we're going to do, we're going to get in with the salt. I'm going to get in. Let's get the edges first. Get the edges. Sure, I could have used a store-bought seasoning. Most of my videos, I mean, you might see some of the videos where I do use a store-bought seasoning. For the most part, I'm a fan of making my own. I do have a large caboodle with store-bought seasonings, and when I don't, when I get into the mood and I don't feel like making my own, then I'll usually get into that. Do use a lot of those seasonings for my daily cooking. So now we're going to go and hit this top side. Point is to keep the box moving. Alright. Okay, that's it for the kosher salt. You can use table salt too, however, you're probably going to want to use a lot less. Remember, table salt is saltier by volume. Alright, now we're going to go on with the 16 mesh black pepper. Keep it moving, guys. Same way I would treat it if I had it in a shaker bottle, everything combined. Same way I treat it here when I'm doing them separately. I like to use that salt first because that salt starts to wick out, aka pull out moisture, and then we use that moisture as a binder. All right. Let's get these edges. Got a bit of wind here, so kind of got to eyeball it. All right. Good. Now we're going to get this top. Keep it moving. And come down with an even layer. Can you see that? Again, we press it in. We don't rub. I like a little bit more salt on my beef. A little bit more pepper on my beef. This pepper is actually also key ingredient into establishing a nice bark. Those winds are picking up. Should be alright though. Alright, that's gonna be about good. I might come back when I'm finished seasoning everything with some more 16-inch black pepper. And then we're gonna, as a topper, just on the top, we're going to go in with our seasoning. This is it is different. This is comparable to Lawry's seasoning salt or any other seasoned salt, all-purpose seasoning that you can find. That's gonna be about it. I might come back, have that in. I think that's gonna be about it. Everything looks pretty good. Maybe another laying of black pepper. See, as this fat renders, this is also what's gonna help us add to a nice bark. Consistent bark. And that's going to be it for as far as seasoning is concerned. Give me a little bit to clean up. I'll be back, and I'll show you guys how we're going to get this fire started. Get these beef ribs on. Start cooking. Stay tuned. All right, let's go ahead and get a fire started. All right. So in my 22-inch Weber Kettle, I have my smoke and sear. Smoke and sear. I don't know if I'll be running water today. I've got some the Good Charcoal Company. Charcoal here is made from premium Acacia. So Acacia is a hardwood. I've used this stuff before. I like it. I like the flavor it gives off. Can you get in there and see that? Let's go ahead and get this fire started. This is what we're using today. Can you see that? Still classified as lump charcoal. I like lump charcoal over charcoal briquettes because it burns hotter. It burns hotter. All right, let's go ahead and get a fire started. All right, for the fire starting of this, we're gonna go a little bit differently. Got me some newspaper. One of my favorite YouTubers always uses he uses Asian newspaper clippings, and he says that it brings more flavor. I don't know if that's true, but I don't fight the man about it. You're not going to catch me in his comments fighting him about whether Asian newspaper brings more flavor than anything else. So we've got newspaper here. I've got me a tumbleweed fire starter. We're going to get that inside of the newspaper. Usually my way of starting fires is probably a little bit more different than others. I usually saturate this paper with some type of oil, and then I'll set the paper on fire. Paper starts the fire, the oil keeps the fire going. So we're going to get this set down in here. Set it down in there. Then I'll bring you along with me as I get this fire started. Here, we set the paper on fire. Hopefully it's not too windy. As that paper catches, that fire starter will catch, and then it'll begin burning charcoal. We'll gather some of this charcoal closer to it, so as it catches, we get charcoal that catches. There's nothing much to it. What I might do after this catches, just go in with some more lump charcoal over this. Stay tuned. All right, we back. Our fire is going. See that there? And we're going to be smoking using a pretty big stick of post oak. I'll put one in over the hot spot so we get some good smoke rolling. And then we're going to put this on, let it cook. I won't check for the next hour or two. Alright. Make sure you guys can see me. Alright. Now we're going to get this on. Here's what we're looking like. Looking pretty good. Thick end is going to go towards the fire. Actually, you know what? That might be a little bit too. Let's see if we can put the other thick end towards the fire. Actually, Let's see. Alright, so I don't know if I'm gonna spritz. I may spritz since I did not use water in the trough, but we're gonna let this ride out. And let me get my smoke wood on the fire. Right over that hot spot. As this catches, we'll get some good smoke. That piece of wood still does have some bark on it. Bark actually aids in assistance to get a nice crust or a nice bark. However, you don't want to overdo it with the bark on the wood, because you can get an acrid flavor. Right? Other than that, we're gonna let it ride. To create draw, I'm going to get my top vent away from the heat, so that'll be over here. And then my my intake on the bottom, I'm gonna close it. I'm probably a little bit less than halfway. Stay tuned. All right, let's see where we're at. We're about 2 hours in, 2 hours on the dot. All right, get some pretty good color. You can see my wood is combusting. Excellent. You can see this fat's bubbling, so I may be cooking a little bit too fast. I've already went ahead and I brought my intake back about an inch or so. So what we're gonna do, I'm gonna spritz it. I'm gonna give this a turn. I don't mind cooking a bit hotter on my kettle, as long as it's being evenly distributed. I'm spritzing with pickle juice and water. What I have on hand. And so probably here, because I see I've got some fat runoff, you can hear the fat down here in this container. It's running off these beef ribs. I'm going to go ahead and give this a turn. Let's get you guys down here. Give it a turn to promote even cooking. Trying to stretch this out. I want a 4 to 6 to maybe even 7 or 8 hour cook. Can't do that if we cook it too fast, right? You can see that wood is combusting. I'm happy with that. That's fine. So here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna get this top back on, because I don't need a out of the way fire on me. All right. I might take this back a little bit. Try to slow that cooking down. All right, stay tuned. All right, it's wrapping time. So we hit 3 hours, and that's pretty fast for one of these rib cooks. But I am cooking on a kettle. I do cook a bit hotter. I try to get the temperature as low as possible in between 225 and 250. However, it is a very hot day outside, and I didn't cook with the moisture. Right, I did spritz, but I did put water in the trough. Moisture helps stabilize that temperature in any grill. All right, so here's what we're gonna do, and I'll let you see what we're working with. My fire's still going on the outside. We're temping about 175 to 180. Perfect time for pulling. I like where my bark is at. We're gonna saturate this paper. This helps makes this paper a bit more pliable. All right, now is the time. If you had any beef tallow, now would be a good time to use it. I don't have any. Plus, these ribs are plenty juicy. I suppose they'll stay that way throughout this cook. So let me get these beef ribs. And we're gonna go down on the paper, all right? We'll give them a good spritz. I'm not afraid of washing my bark away as it stands now, because the bark is set. Smells absolutely delicious. Let me show you where we're at right now. See that bark on there? It's looking pretty good. It's looking pretty good. Now, next time I do these, I'm probably going to season the night before. Let them set uncovered in my fridge. Like I said, I find that I get a better result and better taste in things when I do things that way. So now, let's wrap these up and get them back on so they can finish. I'm looking at a temperature of 200, 203 to 205. That's usually the temp you're looking for. You can see that moisture coming off there. That's that fat still rendering. I know this is tender already. It's getting there. However, we got a little bit more to go. I don't mind where we're at. It's looking absolutely delicious. Pretty good. So that's what we're gonna do. Don't need much paper for this. I could have used foil. However, foil has a tendency to wash away your bark. It's not really what I'm looking for right now. I'm gonna get this. Let's push this forward a little bit. Should be able to fold it over once. Should be good. Here, here. You want to get this as tight as possible. What we don't want to happen is any steaming. You don't want your food to steam. That will absolutely wash away your bark. So we try to get this wrap, any wrap you're using, as tight as possible. Now, I didn't have to wrap this. I choose to wrap. At the temperature I'm cooking, I don't want any burning. Alright, now we're going to go over. I think that's where we're going to stay, guys. And yes, it is meat side down. I'm absolutely okay with that. We don't have much longer to cook on this. I'm going to leave it like that. I'm not going to think about this too hard. Just want to make sure it is wrapped tight. And we're going to leave it where it sits. Alright, there you have it. Stay tuned. YouTube, here's a finished product. Again, this beef plate rib was about 8 pounds, so 7.78 pounds, right at 8 pounds. Took about 5.5, right at 6 hours to cook. These probed 203 to 205 when I finished. An hour prior to that, I had areas temping at 190, totally like butter. However, we still had some areas of toughness on here. Now, one of these bones is ready to come out, so that's how tender these are. Let's recap what we did. So I had an 8-pound choice beef plate rib. I seasoned with kosher salt, 16 mesh black pepper, and seasonal, aka seasoned salt. I then started a fire on my Weber Kettle 22-inch using the smoke and sear attachment. No water in the trough. I used the good charcoal company Acacia charcoal, which is a lump charcoal. It is considered a hardwood. I like the flavor. Throughout this 6-hour cook, the smells coming out of the pit actually phenomenal. Hour 2, I started spritzing using a mixture of just pickle juice and water. And then after that, once my bark was actually okay, I still spritzed because my kettle was running hotter than normal, right? I don't have a problem with my kettle running hotter than normal. I can change the cook, right? Change my methods based off the temperature running. My kettle does not have a temperature probe. All right, so let's get into this. These have been sitting for the last 45 minutes. I did not want to cut into these when they were piping hot. I'm going to cut one off, and then we're going to give a taste for the camera, and then we're going to get on with the business of eating. So I'm going to go here. Make sure you guys can see this and see this on camera. So just make sure. So you see that, right? Actually, this bone can go ahead and come up out of here. All right. You see that? So this is that membrane. This is actually what is keeping the meat together at this point. I'm going to go ahead and pull it off. Alright, this is still actually pretty hot. You see it's juicy. It's rendered. Right? You see the juice running. You see that? Absolutely delicious. It smells delicious. I'm gonna get these out of the way. So we can go ahead and get a cut, and I can that bark is crispy. You can hear it as I cut it. Still got layers of fat in there, but this fat is rendered, you see. As I touch it, it just gives. That's that moisture. So these are rich. I usually don't sit and eat a lot of these. This is much like brisket. If you don't know, one of the nicknames we give to beef ribs down here in Texas is brisket on a stick. The next time you guys will see beef ribs on my channel is more than likely going to be pastrami. Pastrami on a stick. Alright, can you see that? Looks pretty good. Let's taste it. It's absolutely delicious. The fat is rendered. That meat just falls apart. One of the things that I see that I could have did a little bit better. So you'll see here, some of the bark is missing. After I wrapped, I did shut the grill down a bit. However, it still may have been a bit too hot, meaning that my bark stuck to the paper. Now, to me, that means that fire was a bit too hot. That's fine. These are absolutely delicious, salty, peppery, unctuous, still quite delicious. Guys, if you haven't done so, please like, share, comment, and subscribe. I look forward to the community engagement that I've been receiving, good, better, and difference. Let me know what I can do to clean up my videos a bit better. I don't have a problem with someone giving me negative reviews based off their negative experience. That's fine with me. How else can I grow if I'm not willing to receive negative criticism, constructive negative criticism? Please like, share, comment, and subscribe. Until next time, B Smokehouse out.